All right, we're going to talk today about the Speedy Stitcher sewing awl. It can be used to sew leather or canvas, multiple layers of fabric. We use it, as I mentioned, for sewing up the mucklucks that we make, and we sew to a plastic sole. And we sew this cordura nylon to it, and we're using the Speedy Stitcher to make these stitches right here. Alright, I'm going to unscrew the cap here, show you a few things about it. Lay all that stuff down there for a minute. Alright, if I undo the end cap here, you can see that there's a spool of a little bobbin of thread inside of there. That thread is waxed thread, which makes it a lot easier to use because the thread will kind of hold its shape a little better. It'll tension up real nice. We really like it. It works very well. The Speedy Stitcher does come with a couple of needles. And we're going to use the straight needle today. Alright, now what I want to show you is the thread comes from that bobbin through the wood handle, comes out this little hole right here, and then there's a little groove right there, and the thread goes through that groove and through this little metal cap here. There's a hole in that, you can see. And if you look in this little shaft right here that holds the needle, there's a little groove cut in that shaft. And there's a reason for that. One side of the needle is rounded, the other side of the needle has a groove in it, and you can stick your fingernail in it, and that groove goes right up to where the hole is. Well, what we want to do is we want to place that groove in the back side of the needle in line with the groove in the needle holder right there. Now we'll pull us out a little thread. Okay, so we'll shove that through the hole. There we go. Alright, now once you've done that, we just put this little cap on here, and we want to just tighten that down pretty snug. All the thread runs up through that groove, so it's no big deal. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little something here. If I let the thread just come straight out of the handle here and through the needle, I can pull thread out of there very easily. Now you notice there's a little thumbtack looking thing here. What you do is you wrap the thread around that one time, and then as you're sewing, you use that with some thumb pressure here, and it gives you the ability to tension the thread, so you can put some tension on it and snug up your stitches. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we do all this. I'm going to pull some of this thread back out just for my first stitch through. I like to have just a little piece of thread like that's plenty, and I'll show you why in a moment. Okay. Alright, now let's go ahead and get started on this thing. Now what I want to do is just take my needle and put it on that line, and I usually spread my two fingers apart a little bit, and okay, now we've pushed through. Now you notice this little tag of thread here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to pull out, just for our demonstration here, about 8 inches of thread. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pull the needle back out. Okay, now here's your on this hand that's not holding the needle. I usually take my fingers and hold the thread like that, and then I take my first finger and I let the thread wrap around that, and that way I can actually pull some tension. I can pull thread because I'm holding that. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to come over here about I don't know, a little more than 1/4 of an inch. We're going to punch another hole through here. Now notice, when I pull the needle back a little bit, notice what happens here. There's a little loop in it. Okay, when you pull back, because this piece of thread is in the groove on this side of the eye, and on the back side of the eye there's no groove, it's just rounded. So when you pull back, especially because the thread's waxed, it sticks and it makes a little loop right there. So what we want to do is we want to shove the free end of the thread through that loop. And then I'm just going to grab the thread like I told you here around my index finger. Now I'm going to put my thumb right here on the needle, and I'm going to pull that back through the fabric. Okay, so I've now pulled that back through there, and I've made my first stitch. Now you want to have enough thread right here so that you can, I need just a little bit more, so when you push through right there it doesn't try to pull out your first stitch that you made. Okay, so now we're ready to come over here. I need to maybe go a little bit closer. This fabric's a little, going that far is a little too much. Okay, so we'll go back through the loop there. We take some tension on with the right hand, we pull out with the left there. See, I've pulled some tension on that. Okay, we'll go through again here. And use a little caution, especially when you first start out here, because it's easy to poke your finger. And it can do a nasty little job of it too. Alright, we'll do another stitch here. And I'm going to probably terminate it right here shortly. I'll do one more stitch. And one thing you'll find is the more of this you do, the better you'll get at it. Alright, now what I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull me a little extra thread through here. All right. Now I'm going to just clip that. All right, now what I've done is I've left an end on this side, and you can just tie a square knot in that on the back side. And I usually tie several of them just to make sure they're nicely done. And we can just take our scissors and clip the ends. Now we've done a little bit of stitching, and like I say, doesn't look too bad. It's not. You'll find as you get going, like see, this is getting a little straighter, nicer here. As you do this stuff, the more you do it, just like anything, the practice, you get better and more uniform as you go. But we just sewed through actually 5 layers. We just sewed through 5 layers of fabric here, and it's very, very simple. And it's the same method we used to do this stitching right here on the muckluck.